Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on the channel. Well, we have covered quite the amount of court cases here on the channel, and we've seen this happen quite a few times recently, in the last 4 to 5 years now. Mostly because when someone does this, it normally shows that, well, their court case could actually have quite the number of lies sprinkled through it. So let's jump into the story. So as we all know, you've got Blake Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and they're all going against Justin Baldoni. And recently, in the last couple of weeks, well, last couple of months actually, Justin Baldoni has come out with a lot of evidence showing that Blake Lively was basically lying about certain things. And with this story here, this actually strengthens that so much, which a lot of people this wasn't a big surprise. So, Blake Lively abandons claims against Justin Baldoni of infliction of emotional distress. Blake Lively is attempting to withdraw her claims against Justin Baldoni of intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligent infliction of emotional distress. The move comes after Baldoni's legal team sought discovery that included her medical records in their effort to defend the It Ends With Us director against her claim that she suffered severe emotional distress and pain, humiliation, embarrassment, belittlement, frustration, and mental anguish. Lively's attempt to withdraw the two claims surfaced in a filing Monday by Baldoni's attorneys, who are seeking to compel the actress to sign a HIPAA release for access to therapy notes and other relevant information. Before we carry on, obviously we saw a lot of this stuff with Johnny Depp, with AH, and a lot of the times when Johnny Depp's team, they were like, well, we want access to her medical records, because if you remember, she went out on TV shows, she did interviews, she was telling nearly everyone that she had to go to hospital for this or for that, her therapy sessions, all this stuff, which she made Johnny Depp out to look like this absolute Satan of a person. And obviously, when they sought discovery, Johnny Depp's team, they had all the stuff to go and get medical records, but that was after that AH put up a fight saying, you don't deserve him, you don't need him. And when they finally did get those documents and the files and everything else, surprise, surprise, there was nothing in them. Nothing showing that she said she went for surgeries, to be patched up, to do anything. And with this, it kind of seems the same. If she is withdrawing her claims about all of this because they've asked for discovery and to, we want to look at her therapy, whatever, that actually screams she never got help. She never went and got all of this done, That's what this is saying. It's almost like, oh, I've said all of this, I thought people would just believe me, but now they actually want to see proof that I went to therapy, I went to doctors, I went to the hospitals, I did all of this. This screams it never happened and I was lying. That's the problem. But it goes on. Instead of complying with the medical RFPs, Miss Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her infliction of emotional distress claims, today's filing states. However, Miss Lively has refused the Wayfarer party's reasonable request that the withdrawal of such claims be with prejudice. She is only willing to withdraw her claims without prejudice. In other words, Miss Lively wants to simultaneously A. refuse to disclose the information and documents needed to disprove that she suffered any emotional distress or that the Wayfarer parties were the cause, and B. maintain the right to refile her IED claims at an unknown time in this or some other court after the discovery window has closed. That is one of the big parts right by there, folks. Stating she will, after all of this is done, discovery window's closed, we can't get any more, she'll probably refile it to be like, look, this is what I got. That's what, it's absolutely disgusting, really, that people are allowed to do this. Lively's lawyers, that Ursula Hudson and Micah Gottlieb, called the filing a press stunt, obviously they would, and noted that they are merely streamlining and focusing her case. The Baldoni Wayfarer strategy of filing retaliatory claims that had exposed them to expansive new damages claims under California law, rendering certain of Miss Lively's original claims no longer necessary. Miss Lively continues to allege that emotional distress as part of numerous other claims in her lawsuit, such as this and retaliation, and massive additional compensatory damages on all of her claims. Baldoni's lawyers declined to comment. The court will now need to decide whether to compel Lively to turn over the information on her mental health, which she has so sought to avoid, or dismiss the two claims with or without prejudice. It is standard procedure in cases alleging physical or emotional injury for the defence to access the plaintiff's medical records that would shine a light on the root and scope of the alleged distress. Yes, we went through all of this. We went through years of it. We covered it. We covered every single document. We went through over things. We had doctors, we had lawyers, we had everything on the channels with us, talking about and going through everything. And I still see this as, well, if they want discovery, but she's like, oh no, I'm going to withdraw it now. It's a bit like she's admitting, oh yeah, that never happened. Now, if she did all of this before they even asked for discovery or anything, then yes. But to do it when discovery is being asked, it's a little bit sus, And seeing that they've said, oh, this is only a press release, this is a scheme just for a press release. Press release. It's not going to look that way to a lot of people. It's really not. But as it does go on, that, what is unusual is for a plaintiff to abandon the claims. Oh, literally. That given that is well known heading into such a lawsuit that medical records will be an unpleasant but inevitable part of the discovery process. Yeah, exactly. Lively's lawyers hit back with a filing of their own that urged the court to sanction Baldoni's attorneys for the abusing the docket and requested that the motion to compel Lively be denied and struck. Why? It's based on two brazenly false assertions. First, they claim that Miss Lively has refused to disclose medical and mental health information, but as counsel for the Wayfarer parties concede, the information is relevant only to Miss Lively's standalone tort-based emotional distress claims that she indicated she was withdrawing. The Lively filing noted, to suggest that Miss Lively has refused to produce anything in either her written discovery responses, in the parties' conference, or any time thereafter, in connection with these claims is intentionally misleading to the court and their intended audience for this false record, the public. Second, they claim that Miss Lively has refused to properly stipulate a dismissal, but that would suggest there was any discussion or mutually known dispute. As to the stipulation, as noted, there was none. Now with this, though, we've seen it all before. It sounds like a broken record. We have seen this all before. And as even Variety is saying, not the people who are actual lawyers and everything else. It's like, it's a bit weird to come after they've asked for discovery. It's a bit unusual. Especially since that in your claim, you're stating this. All to do with, hospital records and everything else, which they are going to ask for them. But then to say when they've asked for discovery on these documents, you're like, yeah, you know what, we're going to withdraw this, we're going to streamline our case instead. No. To me, that just screams BS, and everyone is now going to look at this and think, we've seen this before. She could very well now be saying all of this just to get the sympathy and nothing happened. That's the sad part about it. If it does come out that these documents and these hospital records say that she never had any of it, I really don't know what to say to that, because that would just be another person who has lied, who has tried to destroy someone because they didn't like how things are going. We've seen it all before, numerous times. The Baldoni filing, addressed to Judge Lohman in U.S. District Court Southern District of New York and signed by attorney Kevin Fritz, offers a window on a back and forth that appears to have played out between lawyers for the dueling sides. It continues that Miss Lively cannot have it both ways. She can't. If she wants to withdraw her frivolous IED claims, the Wayfarer parties are entitled to a dismissal with prejudice to ensure they will not be refiled. That's the main one right by there. Because say that the judge says, oh, no, she can take them back and that's it. But then she refiles them after discovery is ended. It's like, why do you want to show you? We're going to do this. And look, I pulled the rug from under you. Yeah, you can't do it like that. If Miss Lively is unwilling to stipulate as well to dismissal of her IED claims with prejudice, then the Wayfarer parties will continue to defend against them, and she must produce her medical information and documents as set forth herein. The two emotional distress claims were key components of her lawsuit against Baldoni, which she filed in federal court in December after he sued the New York Times for defamation over its story about what happened on the set and in the run-up to the release of the 2024 DV drama, which became a box office hit, earning $350 worldwide of a $25 million budget. Lively claims she was dissed by Baldoni and producer Jamie Heath and subjected to a smear campaign by his proxies when she complained. Baldoni, who is suing her and her husband Ryan Reynolds for $400 million, claims that it ends with her star trying to extort him and subsequently defame him. You know, we've seen all of this to see that Baldoni, she Lively said, yeah, you can't be here, so she stuck him and his family in the basement so she could have the red carpet and everything to herself. Why? There's so many things going on, and again, Lively has kind of been out of the public eye. You know, Ryan Reynolds, her wife, you know, the mother of his kids, you know, and all this kind of stuff. But then all of a sudden, a film comes out, and she's like, I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden, the director has got literally tons of evidence. You know, films, everything. Look at the backstage filming he had done without anyone knowing, just so he can keep himself like, no, I got insurance, nothing happened, I got proof. That's sad. You know, it's a sad way to live. And you have to film yourself with every engagement with someone or whatever, just in case in the future that person decides to make a lie about you. I find that absolutely disgusting, I really do. By alleging that she suffered physical and emotional injuries, Miss Lively has placed her physical and mental condition at issue, and in turn must produce relevant information and documents, including psychiatric records. 1000%. If you are saying in a main court case, in one of your main filings, that I've had emotional, mental, all of this stuff, you need to show the documents to be like, right, here, I went to my doctor. This is what we got. This is what's happened. Because that literally shows that you're telling the truth. If you go, oh, you know what? Nah, we're going to dismiss that one. That, to me, and to many, many others in this world who will look at that and go, you are lying. That's it. But then you're going to go, oh, well, she doesn't want to produce it. No, sorry. If you're saying that someone has caused you mental and emotional stress and all this other stuff, and you've gone to your doctors, the only way you can stop people saying you're lying is to provide the proof. That's it. This is how everything needs to be. Clear cut. Innocent until proven guilty. Not guilty because someone said something. You know, you need all the evidence, the clear-cut evidence to show people, right, I wasn't lying. Here, see, these are my doctor's notes. This is what's happened. This is what's happened. We live in a day and age where literally someone can go on social media, say, I don't know, say a famous name. Angelina Jolie did this to me. Everyone, oh my God. Now I've got to show proof. I've always said it and I will stick by it. Social media and the press, greatest things ever invented, but they're also the worst. As you can see by here, though, it does state that, you know, intern must produce all of this. In other words, Miss Lively has waived any doctor-patient privilege. Exactly true. The twists and turns in the saga, which now includes 6 related lawsuits, have hit the docket quickly. Baldoni is also suing and being sued by his former publicist, Stephanie Jones, who he claims leaked test messages that sparked the ordeal. There's so much going on with this, folks. It's, like I say, I haven't really covered it much on the channel. I've done like 1 or 2 videos in the past 6 months. That's because there's just so much going on. And it's like, come on. we've covered all this, all this type of stuff before, and it's always ended in the same outcome, that the one who is lying always gets found out. And with this one, at this moment in time, if she doesn't want to hand over the evidence and the proof to show people, to show the courts, see, he did this to me, well, nothing really happened. That's how everyone is going to look at it this day and age, cut and dry. Let me know what you think about this down below, folks, because this is a very serious, serious issue. And if people have the proof and they're saying, well, I'll show you, great. Because the ones who are always willing to provide all this proof, all this evidence, they're the ones who are having the misjustice done against them. And the other person, more than likely, is lying. Let us know down below, folks. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.